Hi friends, it's wonderful to be here with you today. I'm so excited to share with you a message that I believe can truly transform your life, your career, and your future. The topic we're going to explore today is one that is near and dear to my heart. Learn to act like a leader. You see, I've dedicated my life to studying the habits, the mindsets, and the behaviors of the world's most successful people. And one of the key traits I've observed time and time again is the ability to think and act like a true leader. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, Brian, that's great, but I'm not in a leadership position. I'm not the CEO, I'm not the manager, I'm not the boss. How can I possibly learn to act like a leader? So, my friends, I'm here to tell you that leadership is not just for those at the top. Leadership is a mindset. Leadership is a skill set. And most importantly, leadership is a choice. You don't have to have the big corner office or the fancy title to be a leader. Because true leadership, real leadership, it starts from within. It's about voice, about how you carry yourself, how you make decisions, how you interact with the people around you. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. Because I believe that every single one of you has the potential to be a leader. You have the ability to take charge of your life, to inspire those around you, and to make a meaningful impact on the world. But in order to do that, you've got to learn to act the part. You've got to embody the qualities and the behaviors of a true leader. So let's get started, shall we? The first step to learning to act like a leader is to adopt a leadership mindset. You see, leaders don't just think about themselves, they think about the bigger picture. They think about the team, they think about the organization, they think about the mission. And that's the kind of mindset that you need to cultivate. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but Brian, just one person. How can I possibly have that kind of big picture perspective? Well, my friends, it's all about shifting your focus. Instead of constantly worrying about your own needs, your own goals, your own problems, start thinking about how you can help others. Start thinking about how you can contribute to the greater good. Because that, my friends, is what true leadership is all about. It's not about ego, it's not about power, it's about service, it's about using your talents, your skills, your resources to make a positive difference in the lives of the people around you. And when you adopt that kind of mindset, when you start putting the needs of others before your own, something amazing happens. You start to see the world in a whole new way. You start to see the opportunities, the possibilities, the potential that was always there, but that you were too caught up in your own little bubble to notice. And that, my friends, is the first step to becoming a true leader. It's about shifting your focus. It's about expanding your horizons. It's about seeing the bigger picture. But of course, mindset is just the beginning, because in order to truly act like a leader, you've also got to develop the skills and the behaviors that set leaders apart. And one of the most important of those skills is the ability to communicate effectively. You see, leaders don't just bark orders and expect people to follow. No, they know how to inspire, how to motivate, how to get people excited about the mission. And that all starts with communication. It's about being clear and concise. It's about being passionate and persuasive. It's about being able to articulate your vision in a way that resonates with people. And that's not just about public speaking, my friends. It's about how you communicate in every aspect of your life, whether it's in a one-on-one conversation, in a team meeting, or in a presentation to the entire company. Because as a leader, your words, your body language, your tone of voice, they all matter. They all contribute to the way that you're perceived and the way that you're able to influence those around you. But it's not just about communication. It's also about decisiveness. You see, leaders don't sit on the fence. They don't hem and haw. They make decisions, and they make them quickly and with confidence. Because in the fast-paced, ever-changing world that we live in, hesitation is a killer. You've got to be able to size up a situation, weigh the options, and then take decisive action. Now, I know that can be scary. I know that making decisions, especially big, high-stakes decisions, can be incredibly daunting. But that's where another key leadership skill comes in, the ability to manage risk. Because as a leader, you're not going to have all the answers. You're not going to have a crystal ball that tells you exactly what's going to happen. But what you can do is learn to assess and mitigate risk, to make informed decisions that maximize the upside and minimize the downside. And that's where things like critical thinking, problem solving, and strategic planning come into play. It's about gathering information. It's about weighing the pros and cons. It's about anticipating potential obstacles and having a plan to overcome them. Because when you approach decision making in that way, when you approach it with a clear head and a well thought out strategy, that's when you start to build the kind of confidence and decisiveness that sets leaders apart. But of course, decisiveness and risk management are just one piece of the leadership puzzle. Because as a leader, you also need to be able to motivate and inspire the people around you. And that's where qualities like passion, enthusiasm, and positivity come into play. You see, leaders don't just bark orders and expect people to follow. No, they know how to get people excited, how to get people fired up, how to get people to buy into the vision. And that all starts with your own energy and enthusiasm. Because when you approach your work, your team, your mission with a genuine sense of passion and excitement, that energy is contagious. It spreads to the people around you, and it helps to create a culture of positivity and momentum that is absolutely essential for any successful team or organization. But it's not just about being the cheerleader, my friends. It's also about being the coach, the mentor, the guide. Because as a leader, your job isn't just to bark orders. It's to empower and enable the people around you to be their best selves. It's about providing the resources, the support, the guidance that they need to grow and to thrive. And that's where qualities like empathy, compassion, and emotional intelligence come into play. Because as a leader, you need to be able to understand the unique needs, the challenges, the motivations of the people you're leading. You need to be able to connect with them on a personal level to create an environment where they feel valued, respected, and supported. And when you do that, when you create that kind of supportive, empowering environment, something amazing happens. Your team, your organization, it starts to thrive. People become more engaged, more motivated, more committed to the mission. And that, my friends, is the true power of leadership. But of course, being a leader isn't just about what you do inside the walls of your organization. It's also about how you carry yourself, how you show up in the world. And that's where things like personal integrity, accountability, and authenticity come into play. You see, as a leader, you're not just a boss or manager, you're a role model. And the way that you conduct yourself, the way that you make decisions, the way that you treat the people around you all sends a powerful message. It all shapes the culture and the values of your team or your organization. And that's why it's so important to embody the qualities of a true leader, to be someone who is honest, transparent, and accountable, to be someone who takes responsibility for their actions and their decisions, to be someone who is genuine, authentic, and true to their values. Because when you do that, when you show up as a leader in that way, it earns you the respect and the trust of the people around you. It creates a culture of integrity and accountability that is essential for long-term success. And it also sets an example for others to follow, inspiring them to step up and become leaders in their own right. But of course, being a leader isn't just about what you do, it's also about how you continue to grow and evolve. Because the truth is, the world is changing at a breakneck pace. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve, if you want to continue to be an effective and influential leader, you've got to be constantly learning, constantly adapting, constantly expanding your horizons. And that's where qualities like curiosity, adaptability, and lifelong learning come into play. Because as a leader, you can't just rest on your laurels. You can't just coast on the skills and the knowledge that you've already acquired. No, you've got to be constantly seeking out new information, new perspectives, new ways of doing things. You've got to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone, to challenge your own assumptions, to explore new ideas and new approaches. Because that's the only way that you're going to continue to grow, to stay relevant, to remain a powerful and influential leader in an ever-changing world. And it's not just about learning new skills, my friends. It's also about investing in yourself, in your own personal and professional development. Because as a leader, you have to be at the top of your game, both physically and mentally. You have to be able to think clearly, to make sound decisions, to inspire and motivate those around you. And that's where things like self-care, stress management, and work-life balance come into play. Because if you're constantly burned out, if you're constantly overwhelmed, if you're constantly running on empty, you're not going to be able to show up as the kind of leader that your team or your organization needs. you're not going to be able to bring your best self to the table day in and day out. So you've got to make your own well-being a priority. You've got to find ways to recharge, to rejuvenate, to keep your mind and your body in peak condition. Whether it's through exercise, meditation, or simply taking regular breaks, you've got to find what works for you and make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. Because when you do that, when you take care of yourself, when you invest in your own growth and development, you're not just benefiting yourself, my friends, you're benefiting the entire team or organization that you're leading. You're setting an example, you're creating a culture of self-care and personal growth that is absolutely essential for long-term success. And of course, as you continue to grow and evolve as a leader, one of the most important things you can do is to pay it forward, to share your knowledge, your experience, your wisdom with others, because the true mark of a great leader isn't just what they accomplish on their own. It's the legacy that they leave behind, the people that they inspire and empower to become leaders in their own right. And that's where mentorship, coaching, and succession planning come into play. Because as a leader, your job isn't just to be the boss, it's to be a guide, a teacher, a champion for the people who are following in your footsteps. It's about taking the time to share your insights, to offer your guidance, to help others to develop the skills and the mindset that they need to become leaders themselves. And when you do that, when you actively invest in the growth and development of the people around you, something amazing happens. Your team, your organization, it starts to thrive. It starts to become a breeding ground for new leaders, for new ideas, for new innovation. And that, my friends, is the true legacy of a great leader. Because at the end of the day, leadership isn't just about what you can accomplish on your own. It's about what you can inspire, what you can empower, what you can create in collaboration with the people around you. It's about using your influence, your experience, your vision to help others to become the best versions of themselves. And that, my friends, is the power of learning to act like a leader. It's about shifting your mindset. It's about developing the skills and the behaviors that set leaders apart. And it's about using that leadership to make a positive impact on the world around you. So I encourage you, challenge you to start taking steps today to become the kind of leader that you know you can be. Whether it's in your career, in your community, or in your personal life, start looking for opportunities to step up, to take charge, to make a difference. Because the truth is, the world needs more leaders. The world needs more people who are willing to take responsibility, to make tough decisions, to inspire and empower those around them. And that could be you, my friends. That could be you if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone, if you're willing to learn, to grow, to become the kind of leader that the world needs. My friends, let's dive a little deeper into what it means to learn to act like a leader. As I mentioned, it's not just about having the big title or the fancy corner office. It's about embodying a certain mindset, a certain set of behaviors and qualities that set true leaders apart. And one of the most important of those qualities is the ability to think strategically. You see, leaders don't just react to the day-to-day challenges and obstacles that come their way. No, they take a step back, they look at the bigger picture, and they think about the long-term implications of their decisions and their actions. It's about being able to see around corners, to anticipate potential problems and roadblocks, and to develop a plan for navigating them. It's about having a clear vision for where you want to take your team or your organization, and then aligning all of your efforts, all of your resources to make that vision a reality. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but Brian, I'm just one person. How can I possibly think that strategically? And I get it, my friends. When you're in the trenches, when you're dealing with all of the day-to-day demands of your job or your business, it can be really hard to step back and take that big picture view. But that's where the power of strategic thinking comes in. It's about developing the ability to see the forest for the trees, to look beyond the immediate challenges and to focus on the long-term goals and objectives that are going to drive your success. And the good news is, this is a skill that can be developed. It's not something that you're just born with. It's something that you can cultivate through practice, through research, through constantly challenging yourself to think in new and different ways. One of the best ways to start is by setting aside dedicated time each week or even each day to step back and reflect on the bigger picture. Take a look at your current goals and initiatives and ask yourself questions. Where do I want to be in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years? What are the key milestones and benchmarks that I need to hit along the way? What are the potential obstacles and challenges that I might face? And how can I proactively address them? And don't just think about it in your own little bubble, my friends. Start looking at the broader landscape, the industry trends, the competitive landscape. What are your competitors doing? How can you differentiate yourself? What are the emerging technologies or market shifts that you need to be aware of and prepared for? By taking this more holistic strategic view, you start to develop the kind of big picture perspective that is so essential for effective leadership. You start to see the interconnections between different parts of your business or your organization, and you can start to make decisions and take actions that are aligned with your overall vision and goals. But of course, strategic thinking is just one piece of the puzzle. Another key leadership quality is the ability to delegate and empower your team. You see, leaders don't try to do everything themselves. They understand that in order to truly scale and grow, they need to be able to leverage the talents and the skills of the people around them. And that means being able to identify the right people for the right tasks and then giving them the autonomy and the resources they need to get the job done. It's about trusting your team, about empowering them to make decisions and take ownership of their work, rather than trying to micromanage every little detail. Now, I know that can be a tough thing to do, especially if you're used to being the one who's always in control. But the truth is, when you learn to delegate and empower, it frees you up to focus on the big picture strategy, on the high-level leadership and decision-making that is so crucial for driving your organization forward. And it also has the added benefit of helping to build a culture of ownership and accountability. When your team members feel empowered and trusted, they're going to be more invested in the success of the organization. They're going to be more likely to take initiative, to come up with new ideas, and to go the extra mile to deliver exceptional results. But of course, in order to really get the most out of your team, you've also got to be able to effectively communicate your vision and your expectations. Because as a leader, your job isn't just to bark orders and demand results. It's about inspiring and motivating your team to buy into the mission and to work together. And that's where qualities like active listening, clear and concise communication, and the ability to give and receive feedback come into play. Because when you're able to effectively communicate your vision, your priorities, and your expectations, it helps to create a shared understanding and alignment within your team. And when you couple that with the ability to listen to your team members, to understand their perspectives and their concerns, and to provide them with meaningful feedback and support, it helps to foster a culture of trust, collaboration, and mutual respect. And that, my friends, is the foundation for truly high-performing, highly engaged teams. But of course, being a leader isn't just about managing your team and driving results. It's also about being a role model, about setting the tone and the example for the rest of your organization. And that's where qualities like integrity, accountability, and authenticity come into play. You see, as a leader, you're not just a boss or a manager, you're a representative of the values and the culture of your organization. And the way that you conduct yourself, the way that you make decisions, the way that you treat the people around you, it all sends a powerful message about what's important, what's acceptable, and what's expected. And that's why it's so crucial for leaders to embody the highest standards of integrity and accountability. To be someone who is honest, transparent, and ethical in their decision-making. To be someone who takes responsibility for their actions and their mistakes, and who models the kind of behavior that they want to see from their team. Because when you do that, when you show up as a leader in that way, it earns you the respect and the trust of the people around you. It creates a culture of integrity and accountability that is essential for long-term success. And it also sets an example for others to follow, inspiring them to step up and become leaders in their own right. But of course, being a leader isn't just about the day-to-day management and decision-making. It's also about constantly growing and evolving, about expanding your knowledge and your skills to stay ahead of the curve. And that's where qualities like curiosity adaptability, and a growth mindset come into play. Because the truth is, the world is changing at a breakneck pace. And if you want to continue to be an effective and influential leader, you've got to be willing to embrace that change, to constantly learn and adapt. It's about seeking out new information, new perspectives, new ways of doing things. It's about being open to feedback and to constructive criticism and using that to continuously improve and refine your leadership approach. And it's about having the humility and the courage to step outside of your comfort zone, to take risks, and to try new things. Because that's the only way that you're going to continue to grow, to stay relevant, to remain a powerful and influential leader in an ever-changing world. And it's not just about the professional development, my friends. It's also about investing in your own personal growth and well-being. Because as a leader, you've got to be at the top of your game, both physically and mentally. You've got to be able to think clearly, to make sound decisions, to inspire and motivate those around you. And that means taking care of yourself, finding ways to manage stress, to recharge and rejuvenate. Whether it's through regular exercise, mindfulness practices, or simply taking the time to disconnect and unwind. You've got to make your own well-being a priority. Because when you do that, when you take care of yourself, you're not just benefiting yourself, you're benefiting the entire team or organization that you're leading. You're setting an example, you're creating a culture of self-care and personal growth that is essential for long-term success. And it also helps to ensure that you're bringing your best self to the table, day in and day out, so that you can continue to provide the kind of leadership and guidance that your team or your organization needs. But of course, as a leader, it's not just about what you accomplish on your own. It's also about what you can inspire and empower others to achieve. And that's where qualities like mentorship, coaching, and succession planning come into play. Because as a leader, your job isn't just to be the boss, it's to be a guide, teacher, champion for the people who are following in your footsteps. It's about taking the time to share your insights, to offer your guidance, to help others to develop the skills and the mindset that they need to become leaders themselves. And when you do that, when you actively invest in the growth and development of the people around you, something amazing happens. Your team, your organization, it starts to thrive. It starts to become a breeding ground for new leaders, for new ideas, for new innovations. And that, my friends, is the true legacy of a great leader. Because at the end of the day, leadership isn't just about what you can accomplish on your own. It's about what you can inspire, what you can empower, what you can create in collaboration with the people around you. It's about using your influence, your experience, your vision to help others to become the best versions of themselves. And that, my friends, is the power of learning to act like a leader. It's about embracing a mindset and a skill set that allows you to think strategically, to empower and inspire your team, to set the tone and the example for your entire organization. But of course, it's not just about the professional impact, it's also about the personal impact. Because when you learn to act like a leader, when you start to embody those qualities and behaviors, it has a profound effect on every aspect of your life. It gives you the confidence and the clarity to tackle even the most daunting challenges. It helps you to stay focused and motivated even in the face of setbacks and obstacles. And it allows you to make a meaningful difference, not just in your career, but in your community, in your relationships, and in the world around you. So my friends, I encourage you to embrace this journey of learning to act like a leader, to start taking steps today to cultivate the mindset, the skills, and the behaviors that will help you to become the kind of leader that the world needs. Because the truth is, the possibilities are endless when you unlock the power of leadership. Thank you all so much for being here today. I can't wait to see what you all go on to accomplish as you continue to grow and develop as leaders. Let's do this.